does have a little sheening on it.
Yeah, I know, it's so shiny.
I got mine combed over to protect it from the sheen.
Okay. Okay.
Alrighty, we're gonna call this meeting to order here at 6:30. We have a quorum. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, amendments to the agenda. I would like to move the Snowmobile Club presentation and funding request from the third section of new business to the first. Do I have a motion?
Oh.
Rebecca? Yeah. Do I have a second? Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, we'll move that to new business. So you guys can go first. Alright, any other motions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move into public comment. Is anyone here for public comment? You know the drill.
Can I just pause you for a second? I'm not positive that we are
Oh,
on the line.
live and in living color.
Yeah, I just figured with.
It's nice to
We're
have
live.
a big crowd.
Jessica?
Can they hear us?
Okay. Yep, we're good. Fix it.
Alright, cool. Name and
What I am.
address / affiliation. You know the drill.
Yes, so my name is Tia Wilson. I live in Topsom, lived in Durham for 20 years. I am the chair of the Durham Historical Society and the Durham Cemetery Committee. And I spoke to you earlier, I know the bandstand's on the agenda, but I wrote this, so I might as well just read it
Yeah.
on here, so. And I can give this to you when I'm done if you want.
That'd be great.
I'm here on behalf of the Durham Historical Society to request that we be added to the upcoming select board agenda to discuss the historic bandstand located at Southwest Bend. In April of this year, the town voted in support of allowing the select board to explore refurbishing or replacing the bandstand with a cost not to exceed $30,000 to be expended from the municipal building reserve account. While I understand that some quotes have been obtained for the new gazebo, there appears to be little discussion about the possibility of repairing or preserving the existing historical structure. The Durham Historical Society would like to formally propose taking ownership of the War Memorial Park where the bandstand is located. Our members possess a wide range of skills and experience, and we would like to dedicate our efforts to repairing and preserving the bandstand as a historical monument in this important part of our town. We hope to do this with the support of the town's funds that have already been allocated towards its repairs. The bandstand has stood for roughly 150 years and has been repaired many times by townspeople who have valued its place in Durham's history. It was originally created by Joseph Tyler following the Civil War to help to bring cheer to the community. Tyler and his band, along with the renowned opera singer Anna Louise Carey, have performed at this bandstand. Over the years, it has served as the heart of the community gatherings, hosting festivals, celebrations, and weddings. The bandstand has witnessed both Durham's 100th and 200th birthday celebrations. It has come to our attention that there have been claims suggesting the bandstand is not historic. We would like to clarify that this is not accurate. The structure has been restored and maintained repeatedly through the decades, always with the care and respect for its original form and purpose. Beneath its aging boards lie a deep and genuine historical significance that deserves to be preserved. We respectfully request to be added to the upcoming agenda, thank you, to discuss our proposal in more detail and to share our intentions for the future of the War Memorial Park and this cherished landmark. And that's it.
Thanks, Kate. Could you leave that with Jessica?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Alright, seeing none, we'll do I have a motion to approve the last meeting minutes. Alright, I'm gonna give it to Deb. Do I have a second? Second from Josh. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, passes unanimously. We have no old business that I know of. Am I missing anything? Alright, we'll move into new business. We're gonna begin with the Snowmobile Club presentation and funding request, so I guess that's what you folks are here for.
I think,
That's dangerous, be careful with that, thank you. Oh, boy.
thinking,
Yes.
this is a new way of doing this, I guess, for you people, in the past.
Oh, yeah, we're sorry, we need your
Oh,
name
I'm
and
sorry.
affiliation and.
My
all
name
that
is
sort of
Duncan Daly, I'm president of the Tri-Town Penguin Snowmobile Club, who occupies trails in Freeport, Pownell, and Durham. I guess, I'm here to request some money for, helping us maintain the trails and, let's see. Insurance on the trails, we carry $1 million liability policy on the trails. And we have a policy on our sleds, we have 3 sleds, and we have $1 rental for a SUV for grooming the trails. All those have to be maintained and fuel. We do get reimbursed for the fuel, but we have to come up with the cost of the fuel all during the year. And our material, you did receive some pictures of some bridges. And the one with the gravel is our pride and joy. That's a $120,000 bridge. It's built in the town of Pownell, but, and we got a grant for it. But we had to come up with 20%. That's 1/5, but we had to come up with $20,000 worth of labor for money. We wound up with close to it in the engineering portion of the project. And we were fortunate enough to get somebody that's built many bridges. He said he could put a bulldozer across that without a problem. So it's plenty strong enough, and it's just for snowmobiles and walkers. We are not a multi-use trail system occupation. So this picture doesn't show it, but we have installed a gate, but you can still walk around the gate and bicycles and but it keeps the Jeeps and the big four-wheelers off, which is, and this is on the Southern Maine Powers right away. So we have to abide by them too. So the other 2 bridges are bridges that we have. One is in Durham over by Runaround Pond. And I'm glad I chose this picture because on the side of it, there's a lot of debris. When this bridge was rebuilt, this bridge is 85 feet long. It spans some of the creek over there. And we had to rebuild it because things rot out. And that's what this debris pile is, what we took off the bridge. So that's another expense, we have to dispose of that material. The other one is a bridge that washed out twice on us, and finally we moved it and made it higher up off the water. And again, we had to dispose of the material for that. That one is like 60 feet, 60 feet. And those 2 bridges were $1,900 and $1,800 a piece, just to put what you're looking at, the treads on. So that's what we use some of the money for. We also have a landowners appreciation once a year. We invite all the landowners that we have record of their names on our trail system. we invite them in and we feed them a spaghetti supper, and we have nominations for a member of the year, an outstanding member of the year. And we basically give them a little certificate. But it lets the landowners know that we appreciate them and our individuals that help us so much. And some of the trail work, the average age of most of the trail workers is 55 to 65. So, and I'm above that, so. Do you want me to get into particulars as to what the lumber material costs?
No, I think what would be helpful, I'll give the board a chance to ask a few questions, but also what would be helpful for us is the amount that you're requesting too.
What's happened with the town of Pownell, there's 2 clubs that operate in the town of Pownell. And they have it now as an agenda on their annual meeting. They take what they get back from the state and split it between the 2 clubs. In the past, what I have done with Durham and Freeport is I just requested, my predecessor just started the whole process, and I continued it, requested between $1,000 and $1,100 is what I requested. And that was my letter to you, January. And subsequently, now we're here, and
Cool. Does anyone have any questions? You said it's Mr. Daly?
How many miles of trails are we talking about that you guys,
our club has approximately 50 miles of trail
50?
in the 3 towns.
How many people are participating in the club?
We've got about 60?
And do they pay dues?
Yes, $20 a year.
And what kind of waivers do you have them sign?
They just, when we do work, we fill out a log sheet because we can get reimbursed for their labor and their time. Never had that brought up before, but I would believe our $1 million liability policy covering those trails, cover those personnel.
So they don't sign waivers to go on the trails or the bridges that you build?
Not to my knowledge.
I can answer it. Rebecca.
Yeah.
Recreation falls under a really broad landowner liability policy, and it protects these protects the landowners and the clubs.
Anyone, people that go out there with ATVs and 4-wheelers, by state law, and even bicycles, are supposed to get every landowner's permission that they cross.
Thank you for that.
We're snowmobiles, and we don't ride on the land, we ride on the snow.
Fair.
Technical, but that's what the state of Maine has told us. But we do have landowners' permission for the trail, and hence that's why we have the list of names and bring them in April to thank them for letting us use them. People do put up gates. I just dealt with one the other day, a landowner put a gate up, but he says, no, you're all set. We'll just, when the snow comes, we'll just open the gate.
Is that in Pownell?
Yes, it is. If you need to get in there to put signs up on the trails or do maintenance to the trail, he says, I'll open the gate for you.
Josh, do you have any questions?
I was just gonna ask, if we earmark the money to go to projects in Durham,
would that be an issue?
I don't really think so, other than sometimes it's kinda hard, you know, when we order material to build a bridge, we don't know, it's kinda hard to keep track of it, as far as that material. And then again, when we have repairs to our machines, you know, fortunately, there's a few of us that tinker with engines and can get things going. We do have someone that does repairs, but he charges us no labor. He just charges us for the parts.
You don't have to be a member of the club to use the trails.
No,
Okay. And then, do you have a sense of how many Durham residents use the trails? I mean, that'd be hard to know, but
what did we find? There was 225 sleds registered in the town of Pownell last year.
Durham?
Durham, I'm sorry.
Durham,
257 in 25 and 307 in 24.
Do you, of your 50 to 60 members, do you roughly know how many are from Durham?
I don't.
I don't.
No worries.
If you give me a couple of minutes, I have an old members list.
Oh, no worries, yeah, we can give you a second. My other question was gonna be, how many trail miles in Durham?
I don't have record
No
of
worries,
that.
okay. And, do you know how many, landowners from Durham the trails cross over?
No,
No worries, it's not a big deal.
if I'd had,
you didn't know.
you know,
Yeah.
Sure, but he's gonna kinda, how much do we have in the recreation account? Like, you know, it's been 2 weeks, and after,
After baseball.
Less than that.
Yeah, so we have 15,000 somewhere.
And have they come to us for money in the previous years?
Mhm.
Okay.
just roughly looking at this list, it looks like about those 18 or 20,
Oh, awesome.
members.
But a couple hundred, registered sleds.
Yep,
Well,
in some states, I believe it's New Hampshire, you get a discount if you register your sled if you belong to a club.
Mhm.
That's not
I think that's the
in
case.
the state of Maine, so, sometimes I wish it was, and sometimes I wish it wasn't, you know, personally.
Do you all know, oh, sorry, go ahead, Deb.
Did you say the other towns, all contribute as well?
Yes, but Pownell, as I stated, where they have 2 snowmobile clubs, they get their money that they receive back from sled registrations. They'll take that amount and split it between the 2 clubs. So both clubs, you know, will get it. The town of Freeport, I sent them a letter in January, and by the first of, well, not until, that was July 1, I received notice that they had deposited, you know, money,
Mhm.
How much did you receive from Freeport?
$1,100.
Just could you explain to the board the way the reimbursement works there?
Yeah, so we get a check from the state of Maine every year for snowmobile registrations. And every snowmobile that's registered in your town, $6.62 goes into that fund, and then we get that back. So in 25, in January, we received a check for $1,701.34 reimbursement. And in 24, we received $2,032.34.
And where does that plug into?
Just goes back to the general fund.
Into the general?
And historically, we have given that back to the club, just with a little bit different process this year. And so it sounds like your ask is for that return back, which would be about 1,100 again.
Well, we got 1,700.
Oh, you said
for 25,
1,700,
yeah.
Alright, do we have any other questions for Mr. Daly? Alright, do we have any questions or discussion amongst the board, or any motions?
I'd make a motion that we, give $1,500 from the recreation, thank you.
Recreation reserve, yeah. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any additional questions or discussion? I would just say that, we get these dollars reimbursed for the purpose of, and we've always supported the Snowmobile Club with that, and so it's a little bit different system this year, but I think that support is still important. Lots of folks in Durham have the opportunity to utilize these, and landowner access is tenuous under the best of circumstances, and we appreciate it. In my mind, I appreciate all the time and effort that the club puts into trail maintenance and bridge work and, all that sort of stuff, so.
We also, the fire department has a rescue sled that we purchased. And
Yeah.
all it requires is a snow machine to tow it. So if someone's out on the trail injured, they just don't throw them on a toboggan and drag them in here. They can, get that sled, and if we know about it, we will gladly have a machine. I have two that sit right in my dooryard all winter, and I've got several available to me in different sections of town where we can get it out.
Yeah.
And the chief knows it as well, so.
Awesome.
Great.
Do we have a link on our website to these trails that are in Durham?
We sell maps on their behalf at the town office, but I don't know, I don't think we have a link.
I mean, we might think about how to, well, we're gonna talk about communication
Yeah.
soon anyway, but how to, promote,
Mm-hmm.
cause I'm thinking I might just go buy a snowmobile.
Mine's been unregistered in my garage for the last 2 years. I gotta register it and take the first spin, but,
They're usually on the email blast in
Yeah.
terms of.
Yes,
the-
I saw that.
cool. Alright, well, any other discussion on the motion? Alright, all in favor of approving $1,500 towards the Snowmobile Club out of the recreational reserve? Any opposition, seeing none? Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
talking to
having
Jessica
me.
and Jerry at the office to figure all that sort of stuff out.
Yeah. And, my phone number is on the maps, but, if anyone wants it, I'm available I'm still one of the old people. I have a landline.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Yeah, not very many though, but I also, which has an answering machine, so even if I'm not even around,
We can leave you a message.
contact will, we can get back, so,
Awesome. Well, thank you.
okay?
Well, we
Thank you very much.
we
I'll be
talked about directing that money right into
Alrighty, we're gonna move next into our open space plan. We have a great presentation from the Greater Portland Council of Governments, so whoever wants to start that off for us, feel free to come on up.
I can do that. I might stand if you don't mind.
Yeah, the microphone's back there and it picks us up pretty good here, so I
Okay.
think you should be able to hear you.
Okay, so I can see you and see that. Great, well, hello, for those who don't know me, I'm Sarah Millsap, I'm the director at the Greater Portland Council of Governments, and I'm stepping in for Kelly, who kicked off this project, who is on maternity leave, so I'm gonna do my very best to answer questions, but I just took this over from Kelly a few weeks ago. We have Bina here from FB Environmental, our consultants, and Callie, our fellow, and Shannon, our new planner, who's gonna be also working on the project with us, so we all wanted to come and say hi and just let you know about the plan, the funding, the timeline, what's happening. We have some initial data that Bina can present from their data collection work that's gone so far.
And as you probably know, our audience is mostly planning board members,
Yes.
conservation commission, and our town planner, so it's a
Yeah.
captive audience.
Captive audience, and I think everybody
And
might know more
possibly
than me, so.
Possibly,
I'll do my best.
possibly hundreds of viewers at home.
Yes, okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, the funding came through the Community Action Grant, which is a community action grant for the Community Resilience Partnership, which is a state-run program. This program has actually just moved over into the new Maine Office of Community Affairs, which is a new department within the state. That's gonna take on all the
MOCA.
MOCA, yes, I'm getting used to using the term for it. So MOCA will be sort of your one-stop shop for all your municipal grants going forward, so hopefully that'll be easy. The grant details, there was $80,000 awarded, there's no match, and we have about 24 months to complete the project. We signed a contract with the state in this summer-ish, and started to kick off the project. So the purpose is really to develop an open space plan and establish a townwide strategy for land conservation and preservation. Just highlighting here, there's about 3% of land conserved in 2025 in Durham. And the hope is to set a strategy to be incorporated into the upcoming comp plan, but also to set a target that maybe would align with the minimum weight, the state climate action plan, which is a 30% conserved land by 2030, which is obviously, would be a difficult target, but always good to know what you're moving towards. And Dina can talk a little bit more about that. So also looking at identifying areas that may be prone to flooding and water quality issues, and really serving as a tool to help coordinate projects and policies and programs and kind of set a roadmap too for the Conservation Commission and see what they might wanna work on next. So in 2025, you hired a consultant, which was us along with FB Environmental. And that was the beginning, that was sort of the summer and into the fall. We got onboarded, and then FB Environmental started their data collection, inventory mapping. We are gonna kick off some community engagement here in the last quarter of the year. We're gonna do a survey, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So there'll be some parts of community engagement throughout the whole project. Looking into later 2026, we would be setting priorities and discussing what the strategy would be. And then the deliverable and the report would be due late 2026 into 2027. And this is flexible too, that's the hope. So you hired Judy Cog along with FB Environmental. We're really excited to be working together on this. I think we've have kind of established responsibilities where we are, Judy Cog, or the project manager and working on community engagement, and FB is leading all the technical work and data collection, and we'll be developing the plan and components with you. These are some photos of our site visits the other day, so. Bina will dive more into this, but the task 2 is really data collection, inventory and mapping. Really trying to get on the ground and understand what the data is telling us and ground truth, and making sure that it's accurate and up to date, understanding what particular vulnerabilities you may be facing now and into the future, and then pulling all that data into maps so you can really visualize what's happening in your town, a GIS database and a comprehensive inventory report, which will really give you a great baseline conditions for the whole town in your open space. In task 3, community engagement, it's really essential, I think, to get the public engaged in the strategy, because the actions that are gonna be in the open space plan will be things that, they'll be hearing about, you want to get people engaged in. So we're gonna develop a public engagement strategy document that you can review and give input to. But the hope is to have a survey that people can access both online and paper forms, have a public workshop where we can pull people in to hear about the data, hear about potential strategies for conserving land, and then have outreach engagement materials. We have a website that'll be ready in the next few days that we can share with everybody, and they can send out in your newsletter or various places. There was an initial site visit on October 21st where the team went around and took a lot of pictures, gathered data, and began to talk more about what they saw. And I think a lot of Conservation Commission members, I believe, were there as well. Yeah, great. So then we will move into setting priorities and trying to understand, what parcels may be prioritized, understand an approach or a framework for deciding that, and then identifying some of the best possible strategies for conserving that land, and researching funding strategies so we can understand how to actually move forward in conserving land. And then all of it will be tied together in a report deliverable. But we want it to serve as a standing, planning document so you can reference it, but we also want it to be used as a tool and sort of a living document for natural resource management and for strategies into the future to help build resilience here into your town. So, we don't want it to sit on a shelf. I think it'll really help guide the work of the Conservation Commission and help them understand where their priorities lie. It will be really helpful. And I'll hand it over to Bina, and she can talk a little bit about what they have What data they have so far?
Any questions so far on
Yeah.
like the process or the plan we have? I might stay seated, I'm cozy. Yeah, the site visit was great, my daughter ended up joining, which wasn't a problem it seemed, so that was fun. It was really fun to get to know some of the open spaces that I've been staring at on the maps the last couple months and weeks especially. I live just over in Brunswick, so not too far, and so we definitely venture this way a lot. So I guess I'm just gonna give some high level numbers of what we're seeing and sort of where we're gonna think about focusing as we dig into the reporting elements. And I used to be the environmental planner for the town of Brunswick, and I felt like we got really hung up, or at least some of our committees did, on the existing conditions. So what is it now? And actually, I thought it was like 3.7% versus 3.2%, and people get really intense about what those numbers are. And so I think for the purpose of today, at least, let's just make sure we're all speaking the same language, looking at the same data, and understanding the spaces as you guys utilize them and as we see them on maps. As Sarah mentioned, that goal of the 30% is ambitious, but let's figure out, like, you know, what is a phased approach to get there? What does that mean for Durham in terms of the statewide conservation, and how can we be part of the plan? So currently, Durham does have more than 750 acres of conserved land, and those bullets are the owners primarily of them, so the town of Durham, conservation trusts, land trusts, etc. And there's a lot of opportunities for open space. Sorry, I know that it's kind of hard to see, but I think there's a bigger one in a second. So lakes and streams are critical pieces of your watershed that we wanna really think about as we're prioritizing open space and conservation, you know, making sure that your waterways are clean and healthy is often a priority for communities, and I know it is for you all. This is just some data that we have. If you see any problems, please tell me, that's kind of why we're here. Again, more into the wetlands and the water resources, and the reason to put, you know, wetlands and aquifers and wellhead protection areas is those can help us identify areas to prioritize for conservation. So you really wanna focus on, you know, what wetlands do we have currently and how can we preserve them? Because wetlands are really gonna help be that sponge for flooding issues, or, you know, you guys are experiencing increased flooding and increased precipitation. Androscoggin, what's it called, Androscoggin Valley Hazard Mitigation Plan, did a great plan last year, maybe it was 2023, really identified what Androscoggin County is experiencing in terms of flooding, and protecting our wetlands is really critical for helping that out. And then aquifers are really critical to conserve, and so you can see there's only 6% conserved currently of that land around them. Aquifers are a little different than surface water. Once an aquifer is contaminated, it's really tricky to clean it up. And so conserving is generally, conserving is generally smarter than remediating. It's a lot cheaper. And so helping, you know, using these as guidelines of areas to conserve is a good starting point. Again, some more water quality discussions. So at the bottom I say water quality protection is a core conservation goal. Conserving land along impaired waterways and around contamination sites can prevent further degradation and support natural restoration. Wildlife habitats is another area for helping us think about priority regions to consider conserving. So thinking about those habitat blocks and finding how we can help animals and critters move along those habitat blocks. And I think, you know, having the penguin snowmobile crew here today was I was so excited, and I'm glad I have his name now, because that's one group that we really see as a stakeholder in this, because I think they want a similar thing, I think farmers want a similar, and so like how do we get all these stakeholders together to understand how we can, you know, maybe get them more funding for more trails that also works for conservation, which also works for open space, which also maybe works with landowner conservation and that communication. So yeah, just trying to find those wildlife habitats and corridors that we can prioritize and help buffer. Agriculture is clearly a big piece of your land here in Durham. It's critical to your space, to your fiber of your community, and I think finding ways to work with landowners and farmers and folks is gonna be really important to get reaching that goal for the town and the state at large. So currently at least 4 farms are protected by conservation easements, and so what does that mean and where does that go? I think we need to dig into a little bit more of, what do farmers expect from that? What does the community expect from that? And how do we grow that? And what is the plan there for those conversations with the farmers? And you guys can stop me anytime, yeah.
I have two notes, on the previous slide under
Yeah.
wildlife, just for your edification, we had a survey done for the Blandings turtle and it's been determined not to be present.
I know, it's still listed on the
The
state's
turtle
website,
biologist
but
retired, so
I-
he hasn't changed it on the website.
I know, and it's
No
funny,
worries.
because the new turtle biologist actually is my old coworker, and so I was like, he's like, let me confirm it,
Yeah.
so I did hear that, and
I'll get on Kevin when I see him.
yeah, thank you, yeah.
And my question on this acres of timber harvesting, is that acres of timber that has been harvested through, and you found through forest operation notifications,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, it's through the state of Maine has a layer in their database of timber harvested timber over the last 100 years.
Okay, cool.
So it's a
Awesome, thank you.
long timeline, but. Okay, and then I think, so this slide, I was just, again, this is what I was, 2024 Androscoggin County Hazard Mitigation Plan. These, I think that December 2023 storm, really opened a lot of folks' eyes, and I think especially in places like Durham and along the Androscoggin River where precipitation, especially those I think you guys had like 4 to 8 inches of rain on snow events, and how are you supposed to plan for that? It's really hard, right? And so this kind of came out of that, and I think this slide is just to indicate it's on the list, people are aware of the climate vulnerabilities here. We are pulling together some maps right now to just kind of show where your biggest vulnerabilities are, what you've experienced in the past, and what we think you'll most likely experience moving forward in terms of flooding and fires. And we actually have been talking a lot more about heat with a lot of our clients, and trying to find ways to mitigate heat issues that we're experiencing more in Maine than I think most people don't think about, when you think of Maine, it's a nice cool environment, but as many of you know, it's getting pretty hot in some of these summer days, and where do folks get relief, and how to make sure that we have those good forest blocks or other areas for people to cool down and critters to move around. So this is where things are gonna get fun and interesting, and we're gonna have to chat with the Conservation Commission and the Planning Department and you all to figure out what are the mechanisms and levers that we can pull here. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and we don't need to dig into it now. I'm just sort of laying it out here of different conservation mechanisms that have worked in the past for other groups, and whether it's through town ownership or are there areas that you could use differently? Are there conservation easements with land trusts, agricultural easements, deed restrictions, and who are your current partners, and who are people that that should be on that list that maybe aren't currently, that we should be engaging with. And then I think defining conservation for your town is important. So I think some people think conservation can't touch it, but maybe it's conservation that you can recreate on, maybe it's conservation you can hunt on, maybe it's wildlife protection. There's a lot of different ways that you can use conservation land, and so getting together to define that and prioritize the types of uses and areas will be a fun exercise, and looking forward to doing that with you all. I think that's, we got to see this little Sally out in the field the other day, I was so excited.
Thank you. So yeah, I think that really, the goal really is to have this as a document that you can feed into your, other planning process. You're going through your new comp plan, so you can look at like where to prioritize, for the highest value conservation space, so then you can understand where you might wanna develop or focus on issues like that. So I think it's great timing, and we're really happy to be involved. We can come back anytime and give you updates. I think we can work with Roberta to, schedule those and understand where there's sort of deliverables that you might wanna see, or we can present to you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, first off, thank you for coming in. Conservation Commission, Planning Board, you do a lot of work for us all, so we appreciate you all working on this as well. Really is a culmination of tons of effort over the last few years, but I want to give the board the opportunity to ask anybody here questions about what we just saw or how the process may work.
It's impressive, actually. For me, this is out of my wheelhouse, all of this stuff, so I'm always really impressed by, the data that y'all put together and how much work there is in this thing. I think it's a good step forward for Durham, for sure.
We completed the Stratham open space plan last year, and Stratham is more similar, Stratham, New Hampshire is more similar to Durham than I was expecting, and I should send it to you guys, because it has a lot to do with the agriculture piece, and so it's a nice just example of other open space plans. We've done quite a few, but Stratham was just one that I think really would resonate with people.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Just so you see like what a final product looks like,
Yeah.
like what are your expectations?
And speaking of agriculture, we do have an ag committee in town now
Yeah.
too, so
Probably
engaging them,
next week.
including some of the board members do have Maine Farmland Trust easements on their property and are really passionate about this, so that's a good to work with too.
Perfect. Yeah, it might be good to get some feedback, considering the drought that we've been in, what impacts they're seeing and facing, so we can.
Yeah, it's significant,
Yeah.
for sure. Anyone have any other questions? Alright, if you could send us a copy of that other municipalities plan, that would be great, for our edification, so. Seeing other questions, we appreciate your time coming in, giving us your time this evening, we'll follow up if we have any other questions, we can submit by email to one of you all, so.
Okay.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Yeah, since we do it, since the audience is primarily Conservation Commission and Planning Board staff, folks, and then and our town planner, do you all have any questions for them? I'm comfortable opening up for brief little questions here if you have any.
Questions or comments?
Comments are fine too.
No, I was gonna say that I have the contacts for the agricultural committee that I can give you, and unfortunately, I didn't make it to the part that they just had to give information about what they were doing. I was planning to and didn't make it, but we can get in touch with
That would be very rare.
And on the public safety thing too, our fire chief is all over it. I mean, we just had a wildfire, lightning strike fire earlier this year.
Oh, wow.
And he's very familiar with our flooding patterns and
Yeah, that'd be great to talk to
yeah.
him.
Yeah,
And
we can
then-
do some short interviews.
any questions about other infrastructure stuff, our road commissioner, tracked down a new crossing for us on Swamp Road a couple of years ago to address flooding issues, so a lot of people are working in the space that are happy to help. Jerry can direct you to all those folks too.
Yeah, hey, great presentation, Juliet on the planning board. I'm wondering about process.
Yeah.
So how is this gonna go forward? Should we, join the conservation commission meetings and see how how it's progressing, or will you be presenting here on a certain cadence or?
Yeah, one of our project management plan things is we're gonna email monthly updates too, so that might be a very easy way that you don't have to attend extra meetings, cause I know it's hard, to just see what's happening, and then we can alert Roberta when there's something we particularly want feedback on, like the community engagement strategy or the draft, that we'll have, so I think that would be an easy way, so you don't have to constantly go to meetings, but you can, we'll send a monthly update to Roberta can share that as widely as, you would like, and yeah, we'll definitely have ways that all of the committees can provide comment on the drafts and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then we'll have a survey that we'd love everybody to take, and we'll have an event too that would be great to have everybody's support on as well.
When are you thinking about that?
Probably like January, February, I think.
So what is happening?
Yeah. Yes, that's what we're thinking, hard right before the holidays to do it, and I think we'll have better data and mapping and stuff available.
I will say the ag committee set the bar pretty high with the potluck event.
I know, when I heard potluck, I thought that's a great idea.
I'm not telling you to do that.
Yeah. As much food as possible,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly, that's always the driver, yeah.
Well, George,
Yeah, just a suggestion, and that is, as we discussed back this summer about the coordination of long-range planning projects, that the town's gonna be updating its comprehensive plan over the next couple of years, so typically, this would be a component of that in terms of the inventory section, so if it could be packaged in such a way that it just seamlessly is transmitted right into the comprehensive plan data inventory, that would be very helpful, as opposed to having, a document that is not as conducive to transfer.
that's a really good point, George.
Yeah, we can talk with you about that, George, while we're like drafting a structure.
This is a very convenient timeline. for
Yeah,
that,
that's
too.
what I was excited, that's
We've
all
worked
set.
on quite a few comp plans, and so we definitely know what you'll need.
Yeah.
So let's work together about what format all that, yeah.
Good point.
Awesome, well, thank you all for your time this evening, you know how to get a hold of all of us,
Thank
and
you. Yeah.
we're really excited about this.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Yeah.
We're gonna lose our whole audience for this.
No, that is.
Not good. We don't wanna have some sort of.
Cool, alright, so next on our agenda here is to discuss our, this will be the step one of discussing goals around a Durham engagement and communication effort, using all of the modern channels we have. I just want to caveat the beginning of this by saying I think we made really huge steps on communication between our new website and our text service, but we can always be making improvements, so Rebecca had done a ton of work on her own ahead of this to provide us with this great document that was in our packet, it's available for folks to follow along.
Do we wanna put it up?
Would it be difficult to quickly pull it up, or?
If you just have to plug it in.
Oh, I have to put it over there?
Yeah, and then just put this,
Okay.
this is quicker. You're-
Now, I will
Yeah.
say, I don't know how well folks at home can see it from there anyways,
Okay, then we'll.
so it might just be best to
That's fine, that's just. For you guys here, you can just use your imagination.
how many copies do we have printed off?
Just what you guys.
I'll share with Deb, and we can send one back to our pulpit here, if you also wanna follow along on what we're doing here.
Oh, thanks.
The table's almost set up, that all four of us can sit shoulder to shoulder.
Okay, so this is really more of this is a compilation of research of other towns and what is out there in the world. And I had been given, from a PR standpoint, a social media document where it doesn't necessarily apply to us, but I took aspects of this big document that was shared around in PR and marketing and sort of pulled it apart and used what could benefit us. So that's the basis of it. So I'm not gonna go through every slide. I think that it's pretty, we all know town engagement is very important, and why we need it. What Durham does have, because of its small town advantage, we have our sense of community, we have a strong sense of pride, you definitely can see that. And so all of this actually leads for what one would think, great communications. But what we do have that's going well, and thank you, Jerry, for your guidance on this. What Durham is doing is actually ahead of many other towns. So we have a town website that is up to date, has a search bar, and is amazing, and it's a one-stop hub. We have weekly e-newsletters that go out, and they talk about everything that's going on. We have text alerts for various announcements that are taking place. We also do a lot of in-person and digital things, so we have the newsletter, like I said, the text messages, the Facebook page, the fire department page, the public works page. We live stream meetings, which many towns do not do, I found out. And we also have a great opportunity for people to speak with our town manager, which a lot of towns also do not do.
Can you highlight what that is?
Oh, me and
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, either one of you,
Oh,
just for folks who might be watching.
so once a month, Jerry will take questions from various people, anyone.
Open door policy.
Yep, and so anybody who wants to come in or shoot you an email or give you a call,
Yeah,
you are,
the last Wednesday of the month is from 2 to 3.
Mhm.
It's
What's it
open-
called again?
Open door.
Chat.
Chat with Jerry, chat with the town manager.
Yeah,
yeah. So that is something that I was actually very surprised to see not very many towns do. So what we are having some issues with, we have very limited awareness of town events and what is happening. People don't know when meetings or events or programs are going on, and the communication usually it's the same group of people who receive that communication. Durham is very diverse, so a lot of residents do not even have social media. And others, the majority of people belong to All Things Durham, rather than the Town of Durham Facebook page, so, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And also we have a lot of newer, younger families here, which provide a lot of other things going on in their lives, so they do not have the time. So it makes it hard for them to attend meetings and other committees. And then, so because we don't have all of the people coming in, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of rumors that spread quickly. We've had a lot of frustration with the town office. The most recent thing is with our tax bills and how that is. I mean, I was just talking with somebody, a neighbor of mine at Beans, who said, yeah, and all of the taxes went up, and I had to explain to him, well, actually, we just, went on to a different calendar year of paying, and so that's why. He's like, no, it went up. I was like, well, I mean, the percentage, but anyway, so things like that, people just don't understand, and they're not reading the proper communication, they're going to the rumor mill. So some things that I was looking at what other communities have and what other, honestly, corporations have is breaking up the website and talking about adding an events and news hub where we can actually have the newsletter on the website and we can have links from the website to like the Snowmobile Club, although they don't have a website, but like certain things linking people to various other things. We can have an easier to find how to get involved page. We do not have a subscribe here on the website for the newsletter. We definitely need to have something like that. And in the newsletter, we need to also be able to have, sometimes it's too long, there's too much going on. And we can talk about how to maybe divide things up, but we wanna be able to share volunteer opportunities. Maybe bringing on a resident spotlight, profiling town staffers or residents, or people at Rec Lenova or Get and Go, and we would just do, like, that's a standard Q&A that people would just fill out, and then we put their photo, if they want, and their information on. Any questions? Am I going too fast?
no, I think you're great.
Okay. So with social media, this is a iffy subject, but we could expand the channels to include Instagram and Nextdoor. And Instagram, that's really the prettiness of it, and we could show, you know, the photos, the highlights, various landscapes, and posts. And Nextdoor is really another aspect, very similar to Facebook, but it's more like safety alerts and event reminders, neighborhood updates. That would also include road closure, so very similar to what we have with the Facebook page, but just another way to get the information out there. And yes, that would take more manpower to do, or person power to do. So opportunities to expand engagement, we could build on what we've been doing, and in nicer weather, Jerry could have coffee at Rep Lenova on a table and people can come meet him, or various other places. Or members of the select board, we could also go out and people can meet us and ask questions, and or various other members of boards to talk with people outside of settings such as this. I think also what I've seen from a marketing standpoint is surveys and contests are usually very popular. And so these can be very silly, they don't have to necessarily be very serious, and it's a way to engage people. So you could do it's SurveyMonkey or Google Forms, but basically you could do like, when did you move to Durham? And then we would have that, you know, answer this poll from the newsletter, and then the following week we would have the results, like X number of people have lived in Durham more than 10 years, more than 20 years, more than 30 years, or, you know, where's your favorite hiking spot in Maine, or how many chickens do you have? And it's also just a note about that, we don't have a lot of data on various people, our you know, community. And so this is another way to collect the information, so that if we have a better idea of residents under the age of 30, under the age of 40, you know, how many families. I don't know if that's something that we wanna go down, but it's a possibility. So just keeping that in mind, like a census. And then we could also do contests, you know, people voting on their favorite garden, or they're, you know, doing some sort of town trivia at the Eureka Center. Any thoughts so far, questions? Okay. Other ways to increase or opportunities for community engagement, we can talk about seasonal gatherings. So, you know, Tia was here with the Historical Society, we can increase, I think, you know, we as a select board have talked more about supporting various events. So going to the Historical Society and pushing that out a little bit more and trying to promote it a bit more. Same thing with picnics. These are, you know, low cost activities, potlucks that the Agriculture Committee did. Unfortunately, we don't know, none of us went, right? So we don't know what the turnout was or how it was. Did any of you guys go?
I couldn't go.
I didn't.
See, no, I know.
I was bummed.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna know.
So like knowing how many people showed up to that, or what the result, like how they felt about it, would be really nice to hear. And so more things like that, and can be nice, community. Other opportunities include volunteering, like beautification, getting people out to pick up trash along the roads. We do that on Meadow a bunch of times. So community garden creation. And so we also, you know, with the GP COG and the plans taking place, this is another aspect for us to get together as a town and work together. So this can increase a lot of awareness about what we're doing, inviting people to join. Hopefully it's not the same people over and over, but we can start to spread the love. And with those volunteers, I think also it might be nice to recognize them. We do a lot of recognition of the fire department in the newsletter. If there are other volunteers who are doing things around Durham, I think it's fun to recognize them. and then also creating partnerships and with DCS, the churches, whether host or co-sponsors for various events. And, I already talked about the other supporting, so through organizations and groups, RSU5 does a lot of programs, perhaps there's something that we can work with them to do at the Eureka Center for taxes, for literacy in the modern digital age, various things like that. And then another thing that I don't think will go over well with Durham, but we could try robocalls, and see how that works. I don't think that would go well. But, anyway. The next portion with social media, we don't really have to go over this. This is more for when we get to that spot for whether, if we talk about the budget allowing, the next fiscal budget to allow for somebody to manage social media. This is something we wanna have a conversation with. I don't think we're there yet, but this is something that is on the horizon that we should consider and think about. One thing that's very important with our town is we do have a problem with the town of Durham versus all things Durham. And so it's not a problem, it's just that we have less people on the town of Durham page than we do of all things Durham. And so I think that there's a way that Kimberly, we can work with all things Durham to try to have that, collaborate with them and have the link to the town of Durham Facebook page on all things Durham's page and sharing posts, being cooperative with information so that we are not in a silo. We need to be able to make sure people have the information because they're not going to our page. So it's a big problem. So that's a work in progress, and I think that we'll get there. And then I think that we should possibly brainstorm about other engagement events that we could do. For instance, we will, in a few years, 2039, we're gonna celebrate our 250th anniversary. We could get an early start.
Yeah.
So we can form a committee around it, we can have fun with it. So I think it's something, we can add on to this. This is not a complete document, this is a working document that I think that we should utilize as reference as well as conversation. And just keep coming back to and adding on to. So, that's that.
Awesome. Well, this is awesome, Rebecca. This is a lot of really good information. I reviewed it before you came here tonight and I was kind of just like blown away at the different ways to think of things and new ideas. And it's really exciting to have these sorts of conversations. Does anyone have any questions for Rebecca or comments?
I think one point we missed in it, is we need to consider, we talked about it a few times, some kind of signage, like something other than, having our residents get all the information from a screen.
Yeah.
We talked about maybe having a sign out front of the town office or down by the Get and Go that, we could populate town meeting, information on,
Yeah, we have, correct me if I'm wrong, Jess, we did have was it a QR code for on voting days? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
For
for
the signage?
different things, sort
Yeah.
of like sign up for news blast.
Right, yeah. And I think that populating those, again, like talking to Jerry in terms of budget and printing materials, obviously that's like a one-stop shop that we would have and we can move it around or share it. Yeah, I mean, if like the Get and Go would be open to having a sign or like, I don't even know, that's just throwing up the top of my head. But like, I think that that's a very good point because we do need to have physical things out there. Mailers are difficult. money wise.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like spotlighting employees, town employees, I think we should do that get to a point where if we could do that every week. The employee's picture, some information about them.
Well, so we used to highlight employees in the newsletter, but when we put out a news blast every week, it's hard to come up with other news in a newsletter every quarter because you're covering it every week.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of got away from that because it's a bedroom community, there's not a lot going on.
That's
right?
why
So,
we can, subbing in polls for a spotlight, maybe once a month is a spotlight, so that we know the first Friday of the month will be poll results. The second Friday will be a spotlight on a person. The third Friday will be Beaver Garden, the people voted
I
on.
wanna know how many chickens are in Durham.
See, I mean, it's a good question,
I know I have too many, so.
I mean, there's all different ways of approaching
Right.
improved communication and it's
Yeah.
really about, do the residents know
That's the
stuff?
problem.
Even when I was watching this presentation, I thought, wow, I didn't even know all the rivers and all of how many we got and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good information or listed businesses or, what is important for me to know as a resident who cares?
Yeah.
And how do we get that information out there? Is it a stretch to ask any community members if they would like to be involved in like a strategy session of different ways to do things, or is it
I don't
just
think it's much at all.
My
Cause there could be
thought,
some people who would really maybe like to.
my thought on
participate.
this, Deb, was we could potentially maybe explore the idea of a community engagement committee, something small, just like 3 people, and with the charge of just gathering and paying attention to what's going on in town and helping promote it. Some of this stuff is kind of happening ad hoc in some other groups anyways. That seems like a space right there. I like your idea about a sign that has a fiscal note, obviously. And then the social media, like, I love these ideas. I do think about like the time that takes to I think that sometimes I've learned that you think that, oh, it's just easy, it's social media, but actually planning out a social media campaign takes out a lot of time that I don't think current staff
No,
have.
no, that's
Oh, I
not
would
something that would be fair
And-
for any of them to do.
Yeah, and I know GP cog has said in the past, there's also challenges with municipal Facebook pages, or social media pages due to like the lack of ad revenue, and then other pages getting a lot more comments, cause I noticed on like our Facebook page, people rarely comment, so it doesn't drive it to people's feeds,
You can look at the engagement of our Facebook, of the Town of Durham Facebook page. We have, I wrote it down, but, so for instance, the Town of Durham has,
while you're looking
Or
that up.
Red Lakes or
we have,
members.
1.8 thousand followers versus,
All things turned like 3,000 and change.
3.6.
It was like almost 2,000 more, 1,800.
Yeah, and so also there's the other Durham pages that I just found, the Durham Maine Community, that's another one, and that has 2,000 members.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff out there.
well, something that you mentioned, like with the potential for a small committee, maybe the goal would be to recruit people who are kind of administrators in other community pages and kind of give some of that community outreach work back to the folks who are already interested, maybe pull them into the fold a little bit. I'd be interested in that idea. And then for the social media stuff, I think that there's some opportunities to have shared positions. So I spoke with GP cog they were doing a communication presentation, and they said that there's an opportunity for, if there's enough towns interested, GP cog could hire someone that works for GP cog but is assigned for like 5 or 10 hours a week to a half dozen communities that all kind of pool their resources. So someone, only job is to come in and talk with the Kimberly and Jessica and Jerry and say, alright, what are we doing for the next, what's going on in town?
Yeah.
Let me make sure I get this set up, so.
Yeah, and I am doing the communications seminar on Thursday
Okay, cool.
through MMA, so I'm gonna hear what they have to say and maybe some other ideas will pop up in terms of possibilities, so I don't know. My fear with that is it does get, as somebody who's managed social media campaigns, it does get very convoluted managing one campaign, looking at Durham as a campaign almost. When you're sharing that one person to manage 3-4 towns, that makes me a little cautious.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The other thing I wanna say and be very clear in terms of Facebook pages, the goal is not to get rid of All Things Durham. The goal is not to combine Town of Durham and All Things Durham. The goal would be to pin All Things Durham to that page and so that people can click through if
Or
they
pin
want
the
to.
town page too, yeah.
Right, or basically being able for the Town of Durham to post on All Things Durham saying that there's a select board meeting, you know, like the town ordinance meeting will take place on such and such a day. Like news for the town. We are not responsible for various things like you know, holiday light maps around. That does belong in All Things Durham, and there's a place for both of them to exist, but it's just alleviating the rumor mill.
Yeah.
And having access to the Town of Durham, because when I was talking to some people, they had no idea that the Town of Durham Facebook page even existed. So that's a problem.
I agree. Any other questions for Rebecca? I wanna ruminate on this a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the idea of maybe exploring a committee, I'd like to kind of engage with some of these things a little bit more. I don't wanna make that motion tonight, cause I think we can just all think about this.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put that on a future agenda, we're pretty packed for the next few meetings, but this is a really good like starting point, and I hadn't even like thought about so much of what you put in here, so.
One thing you could consider, because a lot of towns do this, is not, you know, just a sign, but a new Town of Durham sign that's electronic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
I was
So
thinking one of those like outside the Eureka Center at that corner.
Or that or something, because our sign here is getting fairly old. If you go, a lot of towns have those signs now, where they do put planning board meetings, select board meetings.
That's the electronic
Absentee voting.
version of
Yeah.
text going across.
You got some,
Yeah.
and that can be managed right from the
Right.
computer, so that's a way
Um,
to let people know what's going on as far as
Yeah,
meetings
that's
and
not
things like
bad.
that.
One, that's a really good point, Jerry, I don't know why it made me think of this, but one other thing I think to add to this is there is a local reporter who is assigned to cover Durham for
Right.
like the Sun Journal. And he's reached out to Jerry before, reached out to me before, and usually it's just a check-in with, hey, what was the results of the town meeting? But maybe there's some opportunity there, cause he's written pieces like highlighting people in the community. Tia has been highlighted before, I was highlighted one time, and so there might be like an eager audience there if someone has, you know, packaged, ready to go things, so. I'm just trying to think about like traditional print media, I haven't seen any of the mini Sun Journal yellow newspaper delivery boxes at the end of anyone's road,
Yeah, I mean,
that's still something to think about.
Yeah, I think is we all have to think about, okay, who's even in this town and who are we trying to reach? And what are their responsibilities or roles and how do we go from there?
Yeah, I agree. Awesome, well, thank you.
Bye guys.
Thanks for
Bye
coming.
guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Town manager report.
Yeah, well, thank you, Chairman. So one thing that I wanna report is that there is this Freeport Wood Bank, I will hand this around. This is a gentleman in Freeport that delivers wood to Freeport, the RSU 5, Freeport, Pownell, and Durham. And they just dropped off a bunch of wood at Public Works for people if they need some wood because it's cold and they can go and they can get that.
Firewood?
That wood. Yeah, and we'll put that on our media stuff. But I
Yeah,
just wanna let you folks know
website,
first,
news
yeah.
blast, that's big.
But yeah, they just dumped a bunch, like I said, at Public Works, so anybody that needs firewood, if they're in need, they can go pick it up, it's absolutely free. So that's that's good. And Jessica's been talking to me, just,
Yeah, so he delivered their wood cubes, he delivered one to Pownell, Freeport, and to us. But you can, that's a website that you're looking at, that's on his website, you can contact him if you need a delivery, he'll deliver you like an order of wood, and there's no, you don't have to fill out an application, there's no income, just in pure need, he'll deliver wood.
And you put it on the website or in the newsletter?
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
okay,
Can you post it to Facebook? Can you put it to
News blast.
Everything but the text.
Don't do the text. Definitely don't do the text.
so we've had a committee member, Claire Ross, she has resigned from all committees, she's got some things going on, in her life, so she was on the Solid Waste Appeals and Agriculture Committee, so we'll, get the word out that there's an opening and
Yeah,
All those,
if
yeah.
you can't fill that,
that's a loss, she's,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
hope she's okay.
There has also been a resignation, the fire chief's assistant has resigned. So I'm gonna write up a proposal and I'll bring it to you folks. I'd like to get that filled as soon as possible, so if we could talk about that on the November 18th
What was-
agenda, that would be great.
How many hours was that person working?
She was budgeted for 21.
29 hours a week?
So there's that, we'll try to get that going, Chief's working on it right now. So we made an offer today for someone to fill the last spot in Public Works.
Great.
So hopefully we'll be good, pretty experienced individual, so pretty excited about that.
Excellent.
So if that
I
comes to
saw
fruition,
snow on mountaintops today in western Maine, so I was thinking about this.
yeah,
What?
it's good, cause I mean, they've been vacant for a little bit, so if he does take the job, we'll be fully staffed for the winter, as long as they stay. So that's good. GP cog, they have like this northern region, it's Durham, Pownell, New Gloucester, Gray, North Yarmouth, and maybe Yarmouth, I can't remember. But they meet every year, and this year we're hosting, and that's coming, and that's tomorrow here, so
Oh, I saw that.
if you wanna, it's, what happens is the town managers show up, some select board or council members show up, and GP cog kinda just gives it's kinda like a roundtable discussion, and we just they talk about what's going on in the region, if there's any needs that we're looking for, we just give updates on what's going on, so. We're hosting, they like each member community that's in that region to host, so it's our turn, so.
Do you have to like have refreshments and stuff, or?
The chief's gonna have some water for us, and I'll probably go buy a bag of Halloween candy and just throw it out to them. Something like that.
What's the start time on that?
That goes from 5:30 to 7:30. So, that's gonna be kind of, it's just a round table, and it's kind of nice. Joe's been to it before, with me.
I am unavailable tomorrow.
You all signed me up for early education, so I am unavailable, so don't even.
I might move them, I have an appointment, but maybe I'll.
So,
Just put in your candy request.
I just assumed you were going.
Yeah, I had a lot going on last week, they caught me off guard, so it wasn't, I saw the email and I had to get to it tonight.
I believe that
Hey, we're hosting, we can.
I think you're allowed to just show up.
I believe the bats have all been removed and
Debat.
disinfected, so
Excellent.
I think we're good. I think he has to show up one more time, I don't know if he showed up yesterday or not, but, he showed up today, so we should be good. That should be all,
No, I will be back tomorrow, I might, is that 5:30 tomorrow?
5:30 to 7:30. So
Do you
that's
want a
been
spot?
taken
Do you
care
want
of,
early education?
and,
I'm not there yet. got a few more years.
that includes.
Sorry.
No, that's fine, the report, I would prepare probably the next meeting we had, what was scheduled on the 18th, there's probably gonna be a fair amount on that agenda.
Yeah,
So just something we're gonna talk about.
do you have that document that we looked at in your office about the meeting, topics for the meetings?
I don't have that with me, no.
If you could send that to folks, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Right, so there'll be warrants that we need to get out, because we gotta pay our bills, so
Mhm.
Kimberly may be reaching out, asking for folks to come in and sign,
Thanks.
so we get those bills paid, so.
Yeah.
So other than that includes my report.
Awesome, thanks Jerry. Any questions for Jerry? Okay, I'll start with the chair report here. To Jerry's point, November 18th is a pretty loaded meeting. I know you have stuff going on, work stuff, Josh. There's a few things we really have to cover on the 18th, because it's our only meeting of the month. And so, it will probably run longer than what our recent meetings have been running. If you could remind me, Jerry, what do we have on that?
So I have the cash in lieu analysis done for you folks that you can talk about. Boy, it's.
Then there's the pension.
Yeah, so like, yeah, we can talk about that to see, you know, if there's what direction you wanna go in there, so right now, the retirement for town employees, the plan that they're on, once they retire, they will never receive a COLA under that retirement as long as they live. So there's a different plan that's about 1% more than what you would currently pay as an employer to get them on a plan that does
Cost of living
give them
adjustment.
COLAs. Like people on social security, they get COLAs every once in a while. Town employees that work for a long time under that, they're not getting any COLAs.
The other thing on that agenda is having the bandstand folk
Yeah,
discussion.
the bandstand, that's one thing that we gotta talk, that's why I think Tia was in today.
Yeah.
To kind of help jumpstart that.
And do we have foreclosures?
Yeah, we gotta talk about foreclosures coming up, we're still working on that. Jessica's doing a really good job kind of compiling all that.
And Jerry and I are still gonna see if we can peel some of this off to a later meeting, because we don't
Yeah.
need this to be a 9:30 meeting on the 18th.
Yeah.
I know you have a really challenging work week that week, Josh, too, so we wanna, if we can,
We have wage tables to look at too. So there's a lot coming, we don't have to do it all on that 18th, but some of this information I need to be able to put it.
what I might do is we might prepare a larger agenda, knowing that we can table a few things, just so Jerry can get us the pre-work homework to us before.
Okay.
And so any moment people can spend prepping on that helps us move faster through that meeting, and then we'll prioritize the must talk about, which is probably gonna be foreclosure stuff. And then we can, on that 18th, then slowly pull off things if we're getting too late. But we'll just have it on there, knowing that we're gonna try to get through as much as we can in a reasonable timeframe, so.
And you're certainly more than welcome, you have questions about any of this stuff, I have an open door policy, I don't close it on anyone, so.
Well, all I wanted to do was highlight that there'll be some pre-work for the November 18th meeting. And also remind folks that we do have an election next week, and I want to remind everyone at home watching,
Yes.
go out and make your voice heard. So we have a municipal position open for a select board, and there's multiple people running, so.
I've got about 400 absentee ballot requests.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Okay,
And early voting has started
That's absolutely.
and have you seen a lot of traction in?
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
just
so
not
that's absentee.
all of it is
Yep.
absentee,
400
not just the
people have already
mail ballots.
Yep,
Oh, wow.
requested, and that's coming in person and voting, yep.
that's amazing.
And that ends on Thursday when we close.
Perfect,
Yeah, so that's-
alright, I have nothing else for my report, Josh, do you have anything?
Nope.
All right, Deb, do you have anything?
Just said I appreciated the director reports this month, always, you know, you can tell people take a lot of time and interesting about the number of permits. That's always interesting to me, that particular side. So,
Awesome.
and, you know, factful and really appreciative of our town employees. You can tell the bosses are appreciative of their staff, so appreciate that.
Awesome, Rebecca.
Just that I went to the planning board land ordinance meeting, last week, and it was great, very informative, very interesting, and there's another meeting coming up that people should attend. That's it.
Awesome. All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? So, Josh, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca, any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposition? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Upcoming meetings, GP-COG North Regional Meetings, the 29th at the fire station at 5:30. Election Day, November 4th, 2025 at the AMVETS Post. Polls open at 8 AM and they close at 8 PM, Jessica?
Yes,
Yep.
8
8 to 8. Ag Committee meetings, November 5th at the Eureka Center at 6. Planning Board, November 5th at the fire station at 6:30. Solid Waste Committee meeting is the 10th at the Eureka Center at 6:30. Veterans Day, November 11th, the town office is closed and there will be no select board meeting. And November 12th, the planning board is having an extra meeting on continued work on the land use ordinance, which will be at 6:30 here at the fire department. We will provide an update by email on upcoming board meetings. Do we need an executive session? Alright, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:50? 7:49? 7:55, that's how the clock works.
So moved.
Josh, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, meeting is over.
So Josh also wanted to say that God